Hello everybody, this is Kevin McCandless and you're watching a video on how to submit your homework and what the homework guidelines are and what an example should look like. So what you're looking at here is just a screen. It's your Chapter 1 review assignment. What I have here is number 21. Now there is another video on how to use the My Math Lab. This video is to give you an idea of what I'm expecting you to turn in. So here's my paper, and to begin with you're going to want to make sure that you have your name over here in the upper right hand corner, and Math 13 is the class, and then this semester I have sections 201 and sections 202. So put the section number that you're in, and then at the top of the page I have the section labeled. So this is the Chapter 1 review homework assignment, so write that across the top. And then over here I'm jumping through the first 20 and I'm going to start at number 21. Doesn't really matter. Now on the guidelines it says write the instructions and the problem. So what you're looking at is evaluate. That's the instructions, and you could tell, you look at the problem over here, and where it says evaluate in the bold, that's telling you what to do, and then what's below that, the -1 squared, that's the problem. So I've put that down into the paper, and that's what I'm expecting of you guys, is to be able to write the instructions, because that's going to become important when you're taking a test. You want to make sure you know what the instructions are and then the problem itself. So now that I have it copied down on my paper, I don't really need to look at the computer at all. I'm just going to look at this and I'm going to try to figure it out. So I know -1 squared, I know that's actually a tough one for some students. It's a pretty common mistake in Algebra 1. But let's say I just went ahead and said, alright, well I see a square, I see it's -1, and I think it's 1. There's really not much work to show on that. So I could just say 1, and then what I'll do is go to the computer, and I'll say, okay, 1, enter. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. So then what I'm going to do now is, well, I'll hit done here. And then what I could do is come back to this and try to figure out, well, why is it not 1? So then what I'll do is make a little note here. Instead of erasing it, I'll just cross it out and I'll say, all right, that was wrong. Maybe I should come back to that later. And then if I need help, then I'll come over here and I'll check on these tools. And I could go through the help me solve this, the view an example, or I could send the email to the instructor. So then we could do one of those options and then figure it out and come back down and be like, all right, well, let's try this again. I'll say, okay, well, now I remember that when there's no parentheses there, I know that I do exponents before I do multiplication. So what I would actually do is 1 squared means 1 times 1, and I would have to do that first. So 1 times 1 is 1, there's only one negative sign, so it must be -1. So then I'll go back to the computer and I'll say, okay, let's change that. -1, enter. Alright, and I got it right. So then I'll come down to my paper here and I'll put a box around the final answer, and that way I'll know that, look, I made a mistake initially, that was wrong, but I figured out why, and then when I went and did it again, well, this is why the answer should be -1 instead of +1. And then I can move on. Then I'll go on to number 22. So the point of doing your homework like this is so that when you're done with your homework, you're going to have a nice document here that has all the homework problems with the instructions, basically a record of the mistakes that you made and how to correct those mistakes. So then when it comes time for the test, what you can do is take out your homework assignment and review it and go over all the common mistakes that you had made before, and then that way you won't make them on an exam.